So we are on the final section of chapter 4, which is graphing polygons. So make sure you have your notes, make sure you're following along with me. So when graphing on the coordinate plane, you always go right first and then up. So this is a coordinate plane. I'm sure you guys learned about this last year. So you start over here at the origin and you go to the right, however many spots it says, and then you go up. Okay? How I remember this is a couple of silly ways. You drive to the airport and then you take off. Babies crawl and then they stand. You push the ladder and then you climb up the ladder. So they're just like silly things. X comes before Y. That could be an even easier one. So any way that reminds you that you want to go to the right first and then you want to go up. Okay? The X coordinate tells you how far to go right or left. We're only going to be dealing with right this time. Eventually we'll be doing right and left, so positives and negatives, but today we're just doing positives. So the X coordinate tells you how far to go to the right. The Y coordinate tells you how far to go up or down. Today we're just going to do up. We're not going to do any negatives. Coordinates look like this. So you have two numbers inside a pair of parentheses. So say I had 2, 5. This would be my X coordinate. This would be my Y coordinate. So I would start at the origin. I would go over 2, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where they intersect is where I would put my point. Okay? And I'm just going to call it point A. So for this example, 2, 5, start at the origin. I counted over 2 lines and then up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can write out some of the numbers too if that helps. Okay? To find horizontal distance, so let's say, for example, I have another one. Let's say we have, 6, 5. Okay? So I'm going to go over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll call this point B. Okay? So 3, 4, 5, 6. Say I wanted to find the distance between these. This is a horizontal line. So horizontal means the horizon. It's from left to right or right to left. That means horizontal. If I want to figure out how far a horizontal distance is, you subtract the X coordinates. So think about it. The X one tells you how far right or left to go. So you subtract those coordinates and that would tell you how far it is. So for example, for this one that I have here, my X coordinate is 6, this one, when I went over 6, and this one I went over 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. That's how long my line is. Another way of doing it, if you forget that, is you can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my distance. To find the vertical distance, subtract the Y coordinates. So for example, let's say I have the point, you guys can do this with me. Let's say I have the point 8, 3. We'll call that point B. So I'm going to go over 8 and up 3. We'll call that B. And let's say I have 8, 9. I'm going to go over 8, up 9. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll call that point C. Connect the dots. This is a vertical line. If I want to figure out how long this line is, I look at my Y coordinates because that tells you how far to go up, which is the direction we're looking at. So I look at my Y coordinates and I subtract bigger minus smaller. So 9 minus 3 is 6. So that would be my vertical distance. Or I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Either way works. Vertical distance, left to right. Horizontal distance, left to right. Vertical distance, up and down. Okay? We are going to try graphing polygons actually on these as well. So you should have scrap paper that looks like this. I'm going to have you use that to do some of these practice problems with me. Okay? The first one says the vertices of a quadrilateral, that's a 4-sided shape, are A is 2, 4. So let's try this one together. So on your first grid, starting at your origin, go over 2, up 4, put a dot where it intersects, label it A. So I went over 2, up 4. B is 3, 9. So go over 3, up 9, put a dot where it intersects, call it B. C is 7, 8. So go over 7, up 8, okay, put a C. And then D is 8, 1. So go over 8, up 1, put a dot, call it D. All we're going to do now is connect the dots. So we just made a polygon or a quadrilateral because it's a 4-sided polygon on our coordinate grid. Okay? I'm going to have you pause and try this one. Do it in the second grid. Okay? So in this second grid, we'll just start numbering these. In this second grid, you try this one. Remember, you always go to the right and then up. Put a dot, label the dot. right and up. Put a dot, label the dot. And then when you're done, connect the dots. Okay, so try that one. When you were done, there are 4 more, so we'll number these. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I want you to try these ones down here. Do the same exact thing. So go to the right and up, put a dot, connect the dots. So this is 4 different problems. So do 4 different problems on each grid. So this is problem 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, pause and try those ones. Now you should be on the bottom of your paper. So grid 7. Okay, we're going to try this one. I'm going to have you do it with me. It says the vertices of a rectangle are F. Point F is 1, 6. Point G is 7, 6. H is 7, 2. And J is 1, 2. Draw the rectangle in a coordinate plane and find its perimeter. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to do it on a different grid than you just because so we could see both things at the same time. F is 1, 6. So we're going to go over 1, up 6, put a dot, call it F. G, 7, 6. Go over 7, up 6, put a dot, call it G. H is 7, 2. Over 7, up 2, put an H. And then J is 1, 2. So over 1, up 2, put a J. We're going to connect the dots so that we have a rectangle. They want us to figure out what the perimeter is. So first, we have to figure out what these distances are. So if we're finding vertical distance for F and J, so this one and this one, vertical distance means we're going to subtract the y, which is the second coordinate. So 6 minus 2 is 4. Also, we could have just gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now we want to figure out what the horizontal distance is. So F and G, we're just going to subtract the x. 7 minus 1 is 6. Or we could have also just gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it's a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So if the top is 6, the bottom is 6. The left is 4, the right is 4. Now that we have all of our dimensions, we're finding the perimeter, which just means add the numbers together. So 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4, so that's 12, plus 8, which is 20. 20 units, okay? So I'm going to have you go to your next grid, and you're going to try this one. So do all of the graphing over to the right and then up, label your points, connect your dots, figure out how long all of the dimensions are, and then add them together. So you pause and try that one. Okay, find a new grid. I'm just using this one. You find an empty grid. Try this one. It says, in a grid of the exhibits at the zoo, the vertices of the giraffe exhibit are E is 0 to 90. I'm just going to pretend the zeros aren't on here because our grid is not that big. So we'll just take a 0 off of each one. So let's pretend it's just 0, 9. So I'm going to go 0, up 9, put a dot. Call it E. Okay, F is 60, 90. We'll just make it 6 and 9. So over 6, up 9, put a dot. That's F. G, I took off a 0, so let's pretend it's 10 and 3. So over 10, up 3, put a dot. H is 0, 3. So 0, up 3, put a dot. We're going to connect the dots. Okay, they want us to find the area. So I think I just, hold on, for F, let me just make sure I did that. Oh, no, I'm a little bit off. Sorry, that's supposed to be up higher. That's why it didn't look like a trapezoid to me. So we have a trapezoid. They want us to find the area. It's base plus base times the height divided by 2. So our bases are going to be our parallel lines. We can either subtract the horizontal way, so E and F, we can just subtract the x coordinates, which would be 6 minus 0, which is 6. Or you could always just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the same answer. For this horizontal distance, I can look at H and G. I could subtract the x's. That's 10 minus 0, which is 10. Or you can always just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's my 10 plus 6 for my bases times the height. The height has to make a 90-degree angle, so it's going to be this one, not the slanted one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I could have looked at E and H and subtracted their y coordinates, which would be 9 minus 3, which is also 6. Now I'm going to do this formula out. So this is 16 times 6 divided by 2. That is 96 divided by 2, which is 48 units squared. So I plotted the points, found the dimensions, and then figured out what the area was using the area formula. So you are going to try this last one. Okay, so try this on